Good morning from Canada, everyone. Happy to be here today. So my name is Louis. I'm Louis Maltais. I'm National Director for Navigation Geospatial Services at the Canadian Hydrographic Service. So if you're tuning for the S-100 Sea Trial technical session, you're at the right place. I'm looking at the numbers. We're expecting more than 200 people. But we have a busy schedule, so let's get going. So first of all, make sure you mute your mic. We're expecting more than 200 people during this meeting, so mute your mic and don't use the camera. We'll try to leave the video live for our speaker today. We're planning for approximately 20 minutes presentation. After that, we'll go with the question period. We have plenty of time. For the question period, we have two options. So if you want to take the mic, so you open your camera, first you need to raise your hand in MS Teams, open your camera, open your mic, and we're gonna take your question. If you don't feel like showing your face to everyone, it's fine, use the chat. I can support French and English only, sorry for that. But anyway, we'll use English today. So I'm going to do my best to handle the question period, moving from the live question from the floor or the virtual floor and the chat window. And if you take the mic, we just want to know who you are, your affiliation, and of course, your question. All right, so let's get going. So today the plan is I'm going to start with the overview of the sea trial. So what is the objective and what is the data offer we have to test this whole S-100 concept. After that, we'll move to Stéphane. So Stéphane is a senior advisor for digital transformation at CHS. So Stéphane will take timeline, the detail, how to get ready. You have some homeworks to do to get ready before June. And after that, we'll move to Annie. Annie is the regional, Annie Biron, she's the regional director of Canadian Hydrographic, the Quebec region. So St. Lawrence River is part of her territory. And she's going to explain the challenges of St. Lawrence River, understanding some of you are coming from international. One of the conditions, and I know she's going to speak to that, is we want your feedback. So it's important. So I'm seeing another chat that, Jeremy, you have having audio issues, but I think it's fine. So maybe it's on your side. So that's the plan for today. So the sea trial overview. So at the last IHO HSSC meeting, so Canada put a proposal forward to propose the St. Lawrence River as an area to test S-100, the route monitoring layers. That proposal was well received, and of course, Canada, we don't want the exclusivity. If other sea trials are happening around the planet, that's good. The reality is 2026 is happening, is coming at us pretty fast, and now we've been working hard for more than a decade on specification. Now it's time to test and find little details that we need to adjust. So just before the 2026. It's a collaborative effort. It's a team sport. Hydrography is a team sport. So of course, CHS were leading the charge, but part of the route monitoring layers are also under the mandate of Canadian Coast Guard. So they are part of this offer. Teledyne Geospatial, they are instrumental to the delivery of this project. So they're expert in cloud computing, geospatial services, and they really throw their latest technology at what we have to offer here. And finally, Primar. Primar are international recognized ENC distributor. and they want to be ready for S-100. So they are ready also to get your feedback on what we have to offer in the distribution front. And we're testing a new approach, data as a service. So it's not just a static data set you're going to download and so on. The pipeline from the producer all the way to the client is really data as a service approach. So meaning that once you're connected to the pipeline, you're going to get, a constant feed of information function at the different layers that we'll see later on. Oh, somebody trying to take the control. All right. So the objectives. I'm sure on the call today, we have plenty of people from different aspect of our community. So from port, from hydrographic offices, digital twin startups, and so on. So S-100, the sea trial, it's a unique opportunity to test what's the potential. I'm totally biased. But of course, we want to see from your perspective, being a pilot, from your perspective, how it can help. We want to test equipment and software. And this approach, the live data subscription, so the subscription base or data as a service, we want to get your feedback. There's plenty of possibilities, all of these layers, how they can interact together, how they help your business. It's certainly something we want to hear from you. And you have existing system, of course. We're expecting that there needs to be some work to adapt your different technology to be able to ingest some of this information. We want to hear from your perspective how maybe there's something wrong with the specification of S-100, or there's a misinterpretation from our side, and we need to correct these things. So again, it won't be perfect. It's our first shot at it, our best shot at it, and it's important to get your feedback. So what is the data offer? So again, right off the bat, we don't have ship time to offer. It's really a data offer. S-101, of course, that's our electronic charts. S-102, so on the river, and he will speak to that, we have a constant survey operation between May to November. So we're going to get constant update on S-102. S-104, forecast of water level on the river. S-111, again, also the forecast of the surface current and interesting behavior of current on the St. Lawrence River. From Coast Guard, the navigation warning, so immediate dangers to navigation are part of the data offer. Of course, the catalog, what's on the menu, and finally the S-129, so the underkeel clearance management information. So all of these layers are part of the phase 1 of the specification that are expected to be all officially endorse the operational version in the next few weeks. To my knowledge, it's be the first time that it's offered to the whole community at the same place. So now let's go to Stéphane with the details how to get involved.
All right, thank you, Louis. Hello, everyone. So the timeline for the trials goes as we see here on the slide. So starting this week, we're hosting technical information sessions about the trials, and those sessions are being recorded. So those who are having techie issues about seeing the presentation, you will be able to get to the recording, and we will post information about the recording. So just hang on with us for now. There's a LinkedIn channel already set up for the trials where you can already post questions, comments, and contribute to the exchange. Okay, again, this is an opportunity for exchanging information. So take it, please. Like everybody will benefit from that. We're also planning to have a dedicated website launched in February next year. So that website will be a place where you can get resources for the trials, information, links to past videos, other S-100 resources. So that will be a useful place to go. And then in March 2025, that's where the registration opens for the trials. Okay, so this is where you will contact our partner Primar, get your account set up for the trials, and take this opportunity to mobilize perhaps the people and the equipment that will be used for the trials. Okay, so in March, registration gate opens. The data service as itself will be active between June and November. So this is your opportunity to connect to the service, obtain the live feed every day if you wish, and use the data. Okay, use that in your software, your equipment. If you're new in the S-100 world and want to learn how to create S-100 data, again, take this opportunity to get the data, evaluate how it works with a live service, and provide us with the feedback. So that's going to go between June and November. And once the trial period ends, this is where we will collect and compile the feedback, the comments, the questions, actions to resolve issues, the whole shebang, really. And we will compile that and share that information between the team members and the IHO. Next slide, please. So the registration process, this is, you have to register. Okay, so there's no choice. If you want to participate, you got to register. You will contact the customer support at Primar to initiate the registration process. So you will have to basically say who you are, provide some information about the system you will be using, provide like a contact email for correspondence and so on. Okay. We are not, say, distributing this information at large, but we needed to contact individuals during the trials. So when you register, you will get an account that's dedicated for the trials. Okay, that will give you access to the package, the data package meant for the trials. So for those of you who already have an account with Primar, you need to register anyway. Okay, the trial accounts are different and they're meant only for the trial area and the data set meant for the trials. And those accounts will also expire automatically at the end of the trials. Okay, so please register and you'll see the contact email on the slide at the moment. And again, remember to mobilize your people and your equipment for the trials. Okay, next, we have prepared a test data set. So in advance, that's available now. The sample data set contains the current S57 ENC and the S101 ENC for the same area. Okay, so you can compare the current generation of charts versus the next generation of charts. On top of that, we've adding, say, S102, S104, S111. So that's the high detailed bathymetry, the water level information, and the surface currents. Okay, the navigational warnings and the data catalog are also planned to be added to the trial data set. Okay, so this data set covers only a small geographic area near the port of Quebec. And the data is packaged so that it matches in time. So the water level predictions, the surface currents, for example, they will match in time. So you can then apply that into your software or say simulator or like this, and it will work, it will jive. On the slide, you can see the link to the web page or the website where you can get it from. I will post that link in the chat later on during this presentation, so you can get it from there too. And I strongly propose that you folks bookmark that page. Okay, we will update that trial data set every now and then as we get feedback, as we make correction, or as we add new layers to the kit. Okay, so bookmark that page, visit, download, try, and provide us with feedback. Okay, let's keep that channel open uh, uh, for everyone's benefit. Next slide, please. Okay, so just an overview of the resources we have for the trials. First of all, the data provider, the data service from Primar. And again, you can contact them with through their support channel. You will have a website for the trials. Again, that site is under construction, and we will post information on that in due time. LinkedIn channel, again, we want to promote, encourage, exchange questions, feedback. Like, please do connect to that LinkedIn channel, participate. If you think you can contribute, please go ahead. Again, we're all in this together, so let's make it let's make it happen. And we have the Department of Fisheries and Oceans, the S-100 webpage. From that page, you can also access to the sample data kit. And questions, issues, problems, general inquiries, you can also email them to that address we see here on the slide. And I will also paste that link in the chat in a bit. Over to you, Annie.
Thank you, Stéphane. So geographically, the designated S-100 test zone covers the portion of the St. Lawrence waterway in the province of Quebec. It is the maritime corridor between Sault-au-Cochon, which is downstream, and Montreal, which is upstream. This is approximately 350 kilometers of commercial waterway. This area is surveyed by CHS 7 months per year as part of the Canadian Coast Guard's Waterway Management Program. Next slide, please. The St. Lawrence Waterway presents many interesting elements for navigation, making it the perfect playground for tests. The downstream part up to Trois-Rivières, which is about halfway, is subject to tidal influence with up to 6-meter tides in Quebec City. You will face currents of various magnitude and direction, and even current reversing direction with tidal influence. The waterway includes a main navigational narrow channel that is dredge and also deep water sections. There are several bridges and overhead cables, many navigation aids such as buoys and alignments. The area is also subject to compulsory pilotage for a certain category of vessels. And we have a network of tide gauge that provide continuous real-time water level. And I invite you to consult our sailing direction publication, freely available online, to learn more about navigation in this area. Next slide, please. As Stéphane mentioned earlier, our subscription service will be offered through our partner Primar. By subscribing, you will have the advantage of accessing daily updates for water level and surface currents, and periodic updates for bathymetric surfaces, navigational warnings, and electronic navigational charts. Next slide, please. I would like to remind you that the Canadian Hydrographic Service will not conduct tests per se. Our role is really to provide high-quality hydrographic product and services. It is up to the manufacturers, navigators, or any other stakeholders to develop, conduct their own tests, and ensure that our product meet your specific needs and standards. This approach will ensure that each stakeholder assumes their responsibilities and contributes to the overall success. Our S-100 service offer is therefore a unique opportunity for you to test your equipment and software in situ or in a simulated environment. You'll be able to perform a variety of tests, such as evaluating the performance of your system, the ease of use, or the interaction of different data layers. Also discovering the quality of the product that are offered to you. You will also be able to explore new operational possibilities and assess overall progress in terms of navigation safety. Next slide. This test bed will certainly highlight various issues, but it will also be an opportunity to test and suggest necessary or desired improvement. For example, there may be compatibility issues between systems and product specification. You may also experience significant performance drops and data reception issues. There may be differences between the data sets that you have access to and what you observe in real time. And also visual clutter issues or anything that causes confusion and can affect navigation safety may also be observed during your test. Next slide. As we have mentioned several times during this presentation, our main objective is really to ensure that the successful implementation of S-100 services by January 2026. So regardless the results, sharing the experience you have gained during the test with the maritime community is really essential. To this end, we will invite you to complete a questionnaire or survey to document your test. This is really the only condition we impose on your participation to the sea trials. For example, we will ask you the characteristics of the system you use, what test you perform, what was your purpose of your test, what interesting observation and conclusion you can share with the community. This will certainly create opportunities for improvement and definitely contribute to the successful implementation of S-100 route monitoring layers by January 2026. Next slide. So in conclusion, starting January 2026, navigators will be able to benefit from the new S-100 standards. These standards are seen as a modern solution for the future of navigation, both in terms of transport efficiency and also safety. The St. Lawrence waterway is really at the heart of the Canadian economy for the transport of goods and is really an ideal site for testing due to its unique geography and characteristics. Our offer will allow the industry to conduct tests with the new S-100 products in real conditions. And we have really a solid team behind this effort. We are very proud of this achievement, and we hope that the experience gained during these tests will allow for the successful implementation of S-100, not just in Canada, but really worldwide. We hope that many of you will participate and test the S-100 route monitoring layers. The future is now, so join us, and thank you in advance for your contribution. Back to you, Louis.
Right. Thanks a lot, Stéphane and Annie. I'm looking at time. We're pretty good. You know, French yesterday was almost the same time, and we did the same in English, so it's all good. All right. So I'm gonna stop sharing, and we'll go to, in my view, to the most interesting piece of the meeting. So, a question from the virtual floor. So don't be shy. Some of the folks, you know me, and there's no stupid questions. Of course, online we have some of our experts. So I'm gonna try to do my best to handle the question. So you can use the chat or you can raise your hand and you open your mic, your camera, and we'll try to answer your question. So as we're going to see the hands coming up, and I know that we already have one, so that's good. But I'm going to take the first one to break the ice. So a question from Nigel. The question is, the test is in the St. Lawrence. How widespread will be the service in 2026? So really good question. So as of now, if I if you go on the Prima website, you can see what is our offer. So on S-100, we have Canadian-wide coverage at low resolution, and that includes the Arctic. At super high resolution, we have 3 key areas. And Nigel, if I remember right, you're on the West Coast. Metro Vancouver Port is covered by high resolution surface current. So 2026, I trust the CHS regions to be ready for S-102 production in some of these really key areas. 111, we're in good shape. So we're aiming high for 2026 to have a good coverage. So, of course, it's happening on St. Lawrence River, but use this offer on St. Lawrence River to get ready with your tools, because if it's working, if you're able to interact with the data service on the St. Lawrence River, means that in 2026, you'll be ready in some key areas in Canada. So let's go online. So first question is with Neil.
Yes, good morning, bonjour, merci pour la présentation tout le monde. Thank you for your time. My question is about with the S-100 series charts. You guys can hear me, right? Okay,
all good.
Sorry. Just had a look on your face. So obviously, if the service that you're providing is data, a lot of the West Coast doesn't have good data coverage and probably won't have cell coverage anytime soon. What is the solution for that so that we can actually get access to all the benefits of S-100 when we have ships that are up in the fjords of BC and there's not good data coverage? There's just no cell coverage there, completely different from, say, the St. Lawrence, which is just blanketed in cell coverage. Thanks.
Yeah. All right, thanks for that, Neil. So depending on the layer, the level of real-time updates is different. So if we take the West Coast example, electronic charts, we have a few updates every weeks, okay? But it's not daily that we're pushing a lot of chart update. Meaning that, when a Pacific Coast vessel has connectivity, this is where the service will interact. So the application function of the bridge system you have, the minute that's connectivity, can connect to the service and get what they need. So pseudo-active layers, the chart with updates, S-102 bathymetry, because we're not surveying the whole Pacific Coast every day with survey vessels. But when you come to those super high real-time updates, surface currents and water levels, what we have right now, the data offer, is we're providing 48-hour of data in the future, meaning that at some point, if you're able to have connectivity, you should be able to surf on the forecast for the next 48 hours. But of course, connectivity is kind of one of the key to get all of the updates. So that's that's my answer for that today. So let's continue with all right. Caroline.
So can you hear me?
All good.
Yeah, good. Thank you very much for having this presentation, and good afternoon from Sweden. I work at the Swedish Maritime Administration with S-100 implementation, and we have quite a similar project to you with actually all the countries surrounding the Baltic Sea, where we will implement S-101, S-102, and as far as we get with S-104 and S-111, because there are other data producers, the meteorological offices around the Baltic Sea. We have some initial thoughts of this sea trial area. We are thinking about asking to become a sea trial area as well for the IHO. So can I just ask you what the requirements are and what the definition of being a sea trial area is? Because I can see the purpose for St. Lawrence River. You have some really interesting navigational preconditions, and in the Baltic Sea we also do, but very focused on the environment and what do you say, sweet water. I mean, it's not salty, so it's interesting, but in another way. And of course, there is a bottleneck entering the Baltic. So, yeah, I just have some questions about the sea trial area definition.
Yeah, so Caroline, it's the first time that an area has been officially recognized by IHO. So, you know, we're breaking the trail. As I mentioned in my introduction, I don't think it was really a hard sell for me at HSSC to offer this. So, you know, I can work with you to help prepare your thing, but, you know, let's not put the bar too high. And to me, this is exactly my call to my hydrographics service, the HSSC members was, we want more sea trial because I'm sure there's some stuff unique. And
that's perfect because I work very close with Magnus Wallhagen. So yeah. Okay.
Exactly. Yeah. And you know that one of the thing that is unique in the Baltic is you've got so many countries. So the coordination aspect is something that the St. Lawrence River, we already within the US-Canada Commission, there is some discussion because maybe we could extend where we have a bit of overlap with the US to test, you know, this how we deal with S-100 transboundary. Right now, it's, you know, this is not an option, but this is clearly a value I see in the Baltic, on the Baltic Sea. So, you know, there is, so don't expect a form that you need to fill or so criteria. I think it's fairly open in terms of getting this designation.
That's good to hear. And already now in the project, we have a lot of harmonization activities between the countries for all the standards involved. So, yep.
All right. So let's go to Mr. Weaver. Hello, Head.
Hello, how are you?
Good.
So a couple questions for you. First one, for the service, the products that are being provided as a service, what version of S-100 will they be compliant to?
So I spoken enough. I'll drop that to Mr. Theriault. So Stefan, you're on mute. And so Ed is asking about, you know, the versioning. So, you know, what we have now and S102, S100 version 5.2 is out. So
I was just typing a reply. So we're putting our best effort to provide data that's compliant with 5.2. Actually, the latest approved specifications. So we realize that some of the data may not be quite there yet, but we're working on it. So between now and June next year, like you may look at the sample kit that we put up, you will probably see that some of it is not quite up to 5.2. But as we progress towards June, then you will see changes and evolution in the data offer that we have.
Gotcha. And you'll in the information package, it'll tell us what versions of the specific products are at as well.
Yes, you will have like a short text file with that sort of description, like a.
So Ed, so just on that, Ed, you know what we're aiming at is, let's say now the static data set is there. It's part of the homework for people to get ready. We know IHO is, you know, stamping the operational version of different specification under the S100 5.2 umbrella. Technically, you know, January, February, if you go on the IHO website, you'll get all of the operational version specification. As a developer, this is where you go to, you know, to code your application. And on our side, we'll make sure that we are S102 version 3, S111 version 2, S104 version 2, and so on.
And so from the service side, are the data sets going to be packaged as an exchange set, like the compliance exchange set, or?
Yes, that's the idea.
Gotcha. So for your S129, is Primar system generating that? And the reason why I ask is because our Port Voyager application can also generate S129 exchange sets. So my thought is if we can coordinate, we can compare the exchange sets against each other that we're generating.
Yeah, no, that's a good idea, Ed. Right now, Canadian Coast Guard is looking at, you know, production option For the sea trial, one of the complexity of S129 is you need to have a bit of a few fixed parameters, like, okay, what is the draft of your vessel? So one thing that Stefan is looking into is, okay, can we kind of fix these parameters so we can also test S129? It's S129 by nature, you know, it's a mix of draft plus 102 probably water levels to get this kind of go or no-go zone. So yeah, we're looking at it, but it's pretty clear if we want the test to be useful for everyone, we'll probably have to fix a few of these parameters.
All right. Well, thank you.
All right, I'm gonna go back to the chat. And I see a lot of stuff there and I lost track a bit. But don't be shy to pop your questions. I'm gonna just do a quick, okay, the connectivity, data offer, right. So Stefan, you answered this one. So question from Denis, maybe Annie, for you could describe a bit the quality, the quality of the data that we're about to offer. You mentioned the survey operation of St. Lawrence River. So could you describe a bit? So the question is, for the trials covers mostly with high quality data like CADSOC A. Will all of the BATI data offered will have a CADSOC associated?
Really, the data will comply with the product specifications. So whatever metadata is in the product specification, it will follow in the data set. Mainly, the data in the waterway is really high quality. We have a very thorough process that allows us to have precision and accuracy of a few centimeters. So, of course, the surveys in the waterway are with a very high quality of equivalent to the CADSOC A. You will find also data outside of the waterway on really just outside of waterway, and this data is not surveyed during the 7 months. It might be old data, so the CADSOC is lower, of course. But mainly the data sets in the waterway have a very high quality, so CADSOC A certainly.
Yes, Annie, thanks for that. So interesting question in the chat from John Kelly. What are the sources of the forecasts contained in S104 and S111 file during the sea trial? Is it prediction from oceanographic forecast modeling system, or forecasts are generated by forecaster? So I'll have a shot at it, but I know Gilles is online. We have a few experts here. So we're talking about forecasts. So the way, so we're using, of course, at the origin, so there's no human involved, you know, the high resolution. So in close collaboration with Environment Canada, we have global models, regional models, and all the way to the port model. So we have this nested approach of different model resolution, and we're using that as a source to convert to S-100 format. Of course, you can do forecast. There's a lot of technologies you can use in forecast. In that case, it's more than just predicted tides. We are applying meteorological forcing. So I'll stop here before saying things that are a bit outside my expertise, but I don't know from part of my dynamic hydrographic production team, Gilles or other, if you want to complement this answer, or John.
Yeah, sure. For the sea trials, we will use the result of a very high resolution 2D hydrodynamic model, which is called OHPS, which is run by Environment Canada and thematic change. So it will be updated 4 times a day, and The interesting thing for this model, it is very high resolution. It is a finite element model, and it uses a very high resolution. So the currents are showing very interesting patterns for navigation. So not just for navigation, but for scientists also. But that's the main point. It's the very high resolution used by the model in terms of grid and also time, because we would be able to use their output at 15 minutes time intervals, which is really good to determine the slack tide timing, which is important for navigation. So that's the main topics with or the main.
Yeah, thank you, Gilles. So, John, overall, a fully automated chain. Humans are not really involved in the forecasting mechanism. A quick one from Nigel. This question is probably a bit outside the scope of the trial, but in what time frame does CHS anticipate to be able to offer S-411 sea ice information? So in Canada, the vision for S-100 services is try to break the silo between different organizations. So sea ice forecasting, it's not part of the Canadian Oceanographic mandate, but every month we're meeting with Environment Canada, Canadian Coast Guard, the Canadian Navy, and the CHS to try to build that catalog of authoritative data services across departments. And of course, colleagues at Environment Canada. Right now, I think the definition of the specification for S-411 are a bit lagging, but I can tell you that every month we're discussing, and Louis is always asking on an update on the S-100 series. So you have sea ice, you have meteorological warning, wave conditions, and a few others. So it's coming, but I cannot speak to that. And it's under the WMO umbrella, the definition of these specifications. All right, looking at the question. All right, so Ivan tried to answer the same question. We haven't said opposite thing. Question from Friedhelm. Can we expect that S-102 data will have full coverage, no hole, no section with sparse data? Annie, do you want to take this one?
It will be a mixed. You will see that the cells for each of the S-102 product don't align exactly with the St. Lawrence. The St. Lawrence has like a 45-degree angle, and the cells are vertical or horizontal. So you will have very dense data within the channel, and of course outside the channel it will be sparse data. So depending on the cells you are going to collect, you will have a mix of sparse and non-sparse data.
Yeah, and Friedhelm, from what I heard of S-100 working group last week, I think it was discussed that in terms of rendering, when S-102 is a bit spotty, it creates issues. So, it's part of the testing. So, of course, between buoys, expect full coverage. We're using multi-beam to survey the river and so on. But as you're going outside, and we're providing S-102 also outside the main channel, this is where things are starting interesting. And we'll have to challenge ourselves to find solution around, rendering issues. All right. So Stefan Lessard from Coast Guard has provided some details about the way forward on S-129 service. So I'm not going to repeat that. I'm happy that Annie is back. All right. So question another one. Do you have any restriction on S-100 data from country security issues? We can expect in this trial real data, or it just modeled from the data. So,
I just posted,
Stefan,
excuse me, I just posted a reply to that. For these trials, the offer is meant to be open, civilian use. There's no classified or military or secret content as such.
yeah. And what I can add is the sea trial. Okay, right now those services they're already running. Today at 6 o'clock in the morning Canadian time, we produce surface currents for all of Canada. So it's happening. It's already there. So during the sea trial in June, the only change is that we're opening that free to everyone to test. But this is authoritative data, navigation grade from Government of Canada. It's not just a fake thing, like a mock-up. This is the real thing in all of the different layers we have. Okay, so 2. All right. So it's starting to be flat in the chat. Don't be shy. I'm looking around. We have people from Canada. Cyprius. Happy with the turnout. So if we have exhausted the question, it's fine. So as you're thinking about maybe a few of your last questions, so today we recorded the session, and I'm planning to we'll have somebody do a bit of cutting and doing a bit of the montage to remove the the content that is not relevant. But we're planning to post that online. So if you want to share with your colleagues and so on, and it was in the deck also, we're going to post that online. So if you want to have the latest details and a link to resources, you can always refer to that material. So let's go back to the chat. There's a bit of activity. So a question from Cesar. At some point, will there be a live stream of data? So Stefan, maybe you can re-explain, what is the offer we have now and the difference between, the static data set. To me, it's part of the homework, and what will have access in June.
Okay, so in March, you will be allowed to register with Primar to the live data service that will be offered for the trials. So this live data service is basically where we as producers post updated data as we generate it. So for some, like the water level information, the surface currents, you will get daily updates for the data. For the ENC, maybe the S-100 layers, you may get updates as we receive and process new information for the charts and the high density bathymetry. So, but the service in itself is live. So as you connect to it, query the service, you will obtain whatever is the latest available for the trials.
Right. Merci. Thanks, Stefan. Question from Denis. Do you plan to publish some of the outcome of this trial in the International Hydrographic Review? Clearly a possibility. Right now, we're starting to, so I'm in contact with Nathalie Vendinger, Vice Chair of HSSC, because we want to make sure that we're efficient in, hopefully you learn that what we want to get is the feedback, but we want to have an efficient system to manage that feedback. So, some of that feedback needs to go to the S-100 working group. Some of that feedback needs to go to us, CHS. Some will need to go to Canadian Coast Guard. With Stefan and Nathalie, the idea of the ISO cell. So we want to have some sort of a system where it's going to be easy to generate statistics on the feedback and do the triaging of all of this information. So we're going to get so that's certainly that's the first stage, collecting the feedback and redirecting that. But yeah, the need is clear. It could be a possibility to report at the IHR. But I think the first step is really technical to make sure that if we found some big roadblocks in the root monitoring layers, we fix that before 2026. All right, another question from John. During the sea trial, will all of the S-100's datasets from St. Lawrence River be monitored by CHS during the weekends and nights to make sure datasets are available to tester? Who wants to take this one? Annie?
For the S-102, the surveys are done during the week. So they're usually, it takes about, well, between 24 hours to 72 hours for the data sets to end up in the user's hand. So it will be rare that data set is available, I will say, the first time during the weekend. It will probably be the week after at most. So that's for S-102, so mainly during the weeks. S-104 and S-111 are automatically created. They are well, S-111 is already published right now. I'm not sure about the level of verification that is involved in S-111, but Louis,
no, I can complete. Yeah, no, thanks for the S-102 portion. So in terms of data availability, the long-term level of service we want to attain is 24/7. Right now, what we're running is a best effort. So, it's pretty solid. But, if we're not on call during the weekends, so we're striving towards 24/7. We're striving for automation, but we're not there yet. So hopefully that answered your question, John. Another question, what resolution of depth data are you using for S-102? Fixed for all scale or dependent on the scale?
Fred has answered the question.
Okay, good. So, in Canada, overall, I'm going to not give the details. I fully trust Fred to do the follow-up. But in Canada, we have the rule of 3 that we're implementing with S-100. Basically, we will never do more than 3 scales at one specific location. We are following that principle. All that turns out in terms of resolution of S-104, S-111, S-102. The details are probably in the chat. Okay. Another question. If you don't mind, I would like to ask about the different database structure between 57 and 101. 57 is produced in 6 separate bands, while S-101 is using scale min and scale max approach to produce the product under the 3 bands, as I understood. Overview, transit, and harbor. So did you use an approach to manage these 2 separate databases for the dual fuel? Other work is repeating and duplicate. So really good question. Annie, you can speak about the usage merge. You've been there.
Yeah, we've prepared our S57 and S101 charts will be created from the same database. The database will be in S57. It will stay like this because we don't really have the time and the resources to migrate to S101 until January 2026. So we will. So right now there's not a duplication of effort because it's really the output from the database that is either in S57 or S101, and we have made very different changes in our database so that it's compliant with S57 and S101. And we have also prepared a couple of months ago with usage merge. So we passed from 6 layers to 3. So all this work has been done already, and all our ENCs are also cut in cells in preparation for the S-100 framework, I would say the cell framework that we will offer. So do you think it answers the whole question?
No, I think a good question. So, you know, another way to frame it is we did modify our 57 chart definition because at CHS we're still using the old paper chart limits for ENCs. Understanding what's coming up for S-100, we decide, okay, there's no way we're going to continue and carry on the paper chart limits in S-100. So the rule between the rule of three and the focus on only three usages, but we didn't wait for S-101. We already doing the data preparation in 57. So we're not stuck to maintain different usage and 6 users on one side and 3 usage on the other side. So the cleanup has already been is happening as we speak. Question from BSH. Have you conducted any validation processes for your C trial data set? Could you provide a brief overview of your method and validation method? So part of what I'm planning to post on the LinkedIn group is a few months ago we did a technical session specific to S111, specific to S102. So the production chain was more, explained during these sessions. So that could be a good source of information. But overall, of course, as all IHO, we want to produce the layer. One thing that I'm sure the C trial will reveal is, we need to beef up the S158 series of tests, and also, the layer needs to be, correct relative to the specification. But we want to provide a deconflicted view to the mariner. So we need to do checks between the layers. It all needs to match. So validation, we have, of course, CHS, we have a few ideas, but there is a lot of work to be done on the validation side of things. I don't know, Stéphane, if you want to add on the validation front.
I already posted a reply, but basically that's one of the challenge we will see from these trials. Like our team tries to generate the data. That's our best effort to comply with the spec. As we go from one product to the next, what we have to validate varies. Like we don't have the same tools, the same checking, rules. So at the moment, we rely basically on manufacturers and the community to look at what we produce and give us feedback. Like it's already started. I can relate to the sample kit that we post. We already get feedback on things that need to be changed, whether it's in coding, whether it relates to the specification, or maybe it's on the software or the manufacturer side that, we have to change our kit to comply or to work with that data. So that's in our opinion, that's going to be one of the big or the major item of these trials to validate our service and validate our data. So this is how we can get to it in an efficient way.
Right. Thanks, Stéphane. Okay, so maybe so we're gonna go ahead with our concluding remarks. Super happy with the turnout, and these exchange I saw on the side in the chat. This is the kind of exchange I want to see on the group, LinkedIn group. Post your stuff. I don't want to be the only one with any posting there. 2 weeks ago I posted some early image from OSI. I want other PPU manufacturer or RegDis or simulation center post that stuff. Of course, we're going to monitor this channel and try to provide expertise, but we're all in this together. So let's go to Stéphane first for conclusion remarks.
Again, check the LinkedIn channel, like we mentioned. Please take a look at the sample kit that we provide. Send us feedback. If you check the chat for this presentation, you will see the email address if you have questions or want to report issues. And again, I just want to encourage cooperation and exchange. That's our opportunity. Let's make good use of it.
Thanks, Stefan. Annie?
Well, just that our S-100 service offer is really a unique opportunity for you to test your equipment and software in situ or in a simulated environment. So please use our data sets, and please share the information you will, or the experience you will acquire through all your tests. This is really, I think, that at the heart of what we intend to do with this trial. We want to make sure that in January 2026, the maritime community is best equipped with the S-100 services that are available worldwide. So please, all your contribution is really welcome. Thank you in advance.
Yeah, merci, Annie. So, final, you don't know, but you're part of the team now. So hydrography is a team sport. S-100, we're going to screw up. There's something that's not perfect and so on, but now it's time to test. And we need the input globally. We need the input of the others. Like, super happy that maybe Sweden is entertaining the idea, and happy to support you to have different trial, more testing, the more we're ready for 2026. So on that, thanks you for participation. You have plenty of link. Expect some posting from us. The recording of this, and use your network to amplify this data offer. It's important. So, all right. Nice day to all.